You know, there's a lady in our countdown who once got a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning from a total stranger who said he loved her voice and wanted to write a song for her. He said he was one of the Bee Gees. Sound like a prank call? Well, that story and the first top 40 hit by that lady, written by that stranger, are coming up.
Hits from coast to coast. American Top 40.
Well, now I have the first chart hit by an Australian singer named Samantha Sang, who once received a phone call in the middle of the night from a total stranger who said he was a member of the Bee Gees. And he was. 5 years ago, Samantha was living and working in England. One night, without telling Samantha first, a friend of hers, who was also a good friend of Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, played a copy of one of Samantha's records for Barry. It was a song that had already been a hit for her in Australia. Well, Barry flipped over her voice, and even though it was 2 o'clock in the morning, he called her up, told her how much he loved her voice, and offered to write a song for her. Well, Samantha says she thought she had a practical joker on the line, and she nearly hung up on him. But Barry managed to convince her he really was who he said he was. The following day, Barry introduced Samantha to his manager, Robert Stigwood. Stigwood listened to her record and signed her to a contract. Then Barry wrote a song for Samantha called Love of a Woman. Became a big hit in Australia and several European countries. 5 months ago, Barry and Samantha decided to team up again. And this week, Samantha debuts in the top 40 with her first American hit. Coming in at number 37 with a song co-written and co-produced by B.G. Barry Gibb, here's Samantha Sang and Emotion. With the highest debuting record of the week called Emotion, that's a 24-year-old singer from Australia whose name is Samantha Sang. This is Casey on AT40, and the countdown doesn't stop till we get to number 1.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
This is Casey Kasem on American Top 40 in Hollywood. And now, the hit song by the girl who went through one of the most frightening experiences that I think any performer could possibly have, particularly a singer. We were told the story directly by Australian singer Samantha Sang. 4 years ago, she said she was performing in an outdoor concert in Melbourne. In the middle of one of her songs, she noticed her girlfriend at the side of the stage frantically trying to signal her about something. Actually, Samantha said, she was trying to tell me there was a wasp buzzing around me. And I looked up, and my mouth was wide open because I was singing. And sure enough, there was a wasp, and the wasp flew right in my mouth. Well, I was so frightened, she says, that I didn't know what to do. But in a couple of seconds that seemed like a few weeks, the wasp flew out. And that's Samantha's story in her own words. One of the most bizarre nature stories I've ever heard. A frog in the throat? Sure. But a wasp? Yuck. Here's Samantha Sang's first American hit. Moving up a notch this week to number 5, Emotion.
So veranda.
Samantha Sang, 24-year-old Australian girl with her first American hit, and it's at number 5 and moving up, Emotion. The 4 biggest hits in the USA are coming up.
Casey's